William Ruto has embarked on wooing the youth who have increasingly opposed his administration. And through street protests, speaking to the youth in Kayole and Embakasi East in Nairobi, Ruto told the youth to stop the street protests so as to provide space for job creation. Here are the full details to the story.
Vijana mnanisikiza? Vijana mnanielewa? Vijana hawezi kupata ajira kama kuna vita. Tunataka amani ndio tuweze kupanga mambo ya maendeleo ya taifa letu. On Monday wale mlijiandikisha. On Monday muna report kazini. On Monday muna report kazini. Nyinyi mnanielewa?
Kuna vijana wangu ambao wamekuwa na wasiwasi sana. Wale ambao nilikuwa nimeupatia kandarasi ya miaka 2 ya Green Army. Nataka wajue leo ya kwamba tumekaa chini, tumekubaliana tunawaconfirm wawe wafanyikazi rasmi wa Nairobi County Government.
And away from the president now to Naivasha MP Jane Kiara, arrested over alleged incitement. Now there was a drama at the home of Naivasha Member of Parliament Jane Kiara in Naivasha constituency as a heavily armed multi-agency security team surrounded her home before arresting her and moving her to the Directorate of Criminal Investigations headquarters in Nairobi for questioning. Here are the full details to the story.
For a short while. Hii maneno tutadili naye faragani. Maneno kidogo sana.
Ndio serikali nilipigania. Inanishika sasa. So what can it be? Mimi sijaingia police station maisha yangu yote. Sijaandikwa kwa hiyo kitabu. Na mimi si pastor. Ile nasafanyanga ni siasa. So wacheni twende tukasikie mbele.
My arrest was already premeditated. The former Deputy President, Rigathi Gachagua, had mentioned about it.
No amount of intimidation, arrests, or whatever it is will intimidate us, will make us cower away from fighting for the rights of Kenyans, for fighting against the violation of human rights in this country.
We have just been at the DCI offices, and I think the country knows that the DCI today pounced on Honorable Jane Kiara on trump-up charges of allegedly incitements for a statement that she allegedly made. So we were there. Obviously, we have declined to record any statement, but they have processed her in readiness for court tomorrow, and she has been taken to Pangani police station because according to them, they must take a person whom they so desire or they don't desire to the most harsh situation. So currently she has been taken to Pangani police station. We'll be heading there. I want to thank the members of the public for the support they have given us. Mheshimiwa Nyoto, Mheshimiwa Mwafrika, naona Mheshimiwa Nyakera here, and many of us actually I can even see Mheshimiwa Monyoro, kuna Mheshimiwa Wagatanga, and we have spoken to our principals. We have just called Principal Rigathi Gachagua from the US. We have called Principal Kalonzo Musyoka. We have called Principal Martha Karua. We have called all the principals and they're in support of us. And tomorrow we expect many of them in court.
And away from that now to Ruto, allied members of parliament blame selfish politics for chaos in Mountain Kenya. And Mount Kenya members of parliament allied to the government have condemned what they are calling reckless, selfish politics behind the recent wave of violence that rocked parts of central Kenya. Meeting in Naivasha on Thursday, the legislators under the Mount Kenya Parliamentary Caucus are now calling for the full investigations into the recent violent demonstrations in the region that left scores dead and property worth millions destroyed. Days after the opposition accused the government of funding and planning the demonstrations that rocked various towns in central Kenya, members of parliament allied to the government from the region have pushed back, sounding an alarm over what they described as politically instigated violence that has left behind a trail of destruction, grief and fear. And they insisted that the mayhem seen in parts of Mount Kenya was not spontaneous but planned and executed by individuals seeking to destabilize the country for personal and political gain. Here are the full details to the story.
The violence and the mayhem witnessed in parts of our region recently have been instigated by reckless, selfish politics. We note with utter disgust the attempted attacks on critical economic installations and facilities within the Mount Kenya region. These very deplorable acts of arson and looting have destroyed businesses that our people rely on, complicating the problem of youth unemployment and discouraging the much-needed investment in our region. For goodness sake, why would anyone incite the burning of enterprises that employ our people, our youth, and our women and our men, and feed our families? Such heinous sabotage only tears down our own house and our own future. We demand thorough investigations into the chaos that led to the loss of lives and destruction of property. Those directly responsible for the violence must be arrested and prosecuted to the full extent of the law. And moreover, the sponsors and the orchestrators of this anarchy and violence must be unmasked and held accountable.
From that now to the Rex Maasai inquest, all police cameras were offline. Ex-DCI officer reveals major obstacle in Rex Maasai shooting probe. And former sub-county criminal investigations officer Tiberius Ekisa has told a Nairobi court that he was informed all National Police Service cameras had been offline during the June 2024 anti-government protest due to fiber optic connectivity issues. Ekisa highlighted the lack of cooperation from local business owners, many of whom refused to provide CCTV footage, further hampering the investigations. He added that in an attempt to gather more evidence, he wrote to the Integrated Command and Control Center at Jogoo House requesting surveillance footage, and Ekisa was giving a detailed account of the investigations on Thursday into the fatal shooting of Rex Maasai, who died last year in the Gen Z-led protests. Here are the full details to the story.
When I tell you go and do ABC, you are doing it on my behalf.
So you are the one who issued the shoot to kill orders. You are enforcing shoot to kill orders on behalf of politicians who cannot even accompany you to court.
The law outlaws giving wrong orders. You cannot give an order that shoot to kill and go, you proceed and shoot and kill. That's wrong.
So if you tell a police officer to shoot, is he allowed to disobey that order?
You disobey unlawful order.
Did you at any time issue a shoot to kill order to your officers?
No.
You did not?
No. And in fact, no death occurred where my officers were operating from. And the cause of death of the deceased was summarized as hemorrhage due to single penetrating gunshot wound. The file is with the ODPP. I had made my recommendations, so they have not responded to guide me on what to do. They should tell me the evidence I've collected is sufficient or insufficient. Two, there is a toxicology report at the government chemist that has not been received. We have been following up, but it is not yet received.
These civilian firearms were used on 18th or 20th June 2024.
It is possible.
Tragedy as another patient killed at Kenyatta Hospital ward, throat slashed. And these are the full details as detectives are investigating an incident in which another patient was killed inside a ward at Kenyatta National Hospital in Nairobi. The male patient was found dead in his bed with his throat cut. Police and hospital officials confirmed. The incident occurred in Ward 7 on Thursday, July 17. The patients told police and KNH officials that an intruder entered the ward and killed the patient, The motive for the latest incident is yet to be established. Witnesses said the victim was a man with a physical disability. One witness added that the man's throat had been slit. Top police officers led by Kilimani Police Commander Patricia Yegon and her DCI counterpart Hussein Mahat spent most of Thursday afternoon at the scene as part of the murder investigations. Here are the full details to the story. These are the stories that are making headlines in the dailies, and we start off with the Daily Nation as 6 counties get bulk of 3.7 trillion devolution cash, and inequality remittance to the 6 devolved units accounted for more than a quarter of the total exchequer allocations, grants and on-source revenues between 2013 when devolution started and 2024, reflecting the continued high concentration of resources in a small section of the country. This is a story that you'll find on pages 4 and 5 of the Daily Nation. Now, top six beneficiaries have been gazetted in the Daily Nation. All 47 counties have received so far since 2013 734 million in total. Equitable share, that is an upwards of 3.141 trillion, and on-source revenue, it's 403.39 billion, as grants have amounted to 189.4 billion Kenyan shillings. Now, the top 6 beneficiaries include Nairobi with a whooping 305.7 billion, Kiambu with a whooping 155.4 billion, Nakuru a whooping 141.1 billion, Turkana 127.6 billion, Kakamega 126.4 billion, and Mombasa 117.3 billion Kenyan shillings. That is a total of 973.5 billion Kenyan shillings. Grab yourself a copy of the Daily Nation to get to read about that story in depth. Now, arrest mountain protest plotters, say Ruto allied Mount Kenya MPs. And a section of Mount Kenya MPs allied to the Kenya Kwanza administration have demanded thorough investigations into the recent chaos that led to destruction of property and loss of lives in the region. That is a story that you'll find on page 7 of the Daily Nation. And in education, Ruku, a TSC halt execution of report on new hardship areas, and the government has temporarily stopped the implementation of the review of hardship areas following criticism from teachers, civil servants and political leaders. That is a story that you'll find on page 16 of the Daily Nation. Also, reign of fear as a Shabab militia raid village, kill KDF soldiers. That is on page 10. And a breakthrough malaria drug offers hope for Kenya's tiniest patients. That is on page 3 of the Daily Nation this morning. From the Daily Nation now to the Standard, a ticking time bomb. And the Standard is saying, in the skies above Nairobi's Wilson Airport, pilots are risking their lives and those of their passengers. Every single day, what was once routine takeoff and landing is now a high-stakes gamble through a gauntlet of rogue high-rises, many built illegally in defiance of flight safety laws. At the heart of this looming disaster is a powerful northern Kenya politician accused of arm-twisting regulators into greenlighting unauthorized skyscrapers along critical approach paths. Aircraft are now forced into steep last-minute drops to clear obstacles. One wrong gust of wind and it could end in flames. That story you'll find on pages 4 and 5 of the Daily of the Standard this morning. Grab yourself a copy to get to read about what they are talking about. And a grade 10 crisis as half of schools miss learners, and out of 9,000 secondary schools to choose from, only 4,250 were selected, a situation officials tagged emergency. That is on page 6 of The Nation this morning. And Mugonyi put to task over live TV order. MPs wondered where he got the power to switch off stations and the repercussions. That is on page 11 of The Standard this morning.